everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. At Bill's place, Steffi and Hope tell Liam that his tumor is gone. Finn says he just looked at the scans himself. He'll be able to watch his little girls grow up at Forrester. Brooke worries about the press release for Italy going out. Ridge assures her they can still cancel if they have to because of Liam. Just then, Katie and Will burst in with incredible news. They declare that Liam had experimental brain surgery that worked. He's cured. They all exclaim with happiness. Will enthuses about being able to spend more time with his older brother. Taylor decides to contact the hospital to see if she can get more information. Ridge urges her to do so. They have people to thank. Will and Ridge get into it about Bill. Will says he's struggling with guilt. Ridge won't forgive him anytime soon for what he did. He's the reason Luna was out of prison. He put my daughter in danger. Will thinks he's off to a good start with saving Liam. Brooke asks Taylor if she's heard from the hospital. All she knows is that Grace signed off on Liam's discharge. They all go over Liam being strong and how nothing is more precious to him than his kids. Taylor still has questions, but what matters most is that he's going to live. In the design office, Electra asks Ivy if she's okay. She knows the news about Liam has been hitting her hard. Ivy can't get over the unfairness of it all. They go over how close Ivy and Liam used to be. Electra can tell he still means a lot to her. Ivy recalls he was there at one of the lowest points of her life. Knowing his life is about to be cut short has made her realize how much she's missed him. Ivy tells Electra that Liam's still the best boyfriend she's ever had. She runs down his list of attributes and says he's the whole package. Electra giggles that he and Will didn't inherit those traits from their father. Ivy says, luckily none of Bill's sons are like him. She reflects on her and Liam having a moment at El Giardino before he got sick, and admits he was one of the main reasons she came back to LA. Now she has to figure out how to say goodbye forever. Electra didn't realize Ivy had such deep feelings for Liam. Ivy complains that she thought she had all the time in the world. She wishes she could have been there for him as a supportive friend. I didn't know. Electra assures her there's still time. Ivy can't even think about him dying. He's just so young. Electra says it's weighing heavily on Will too. No one is ready to say goodbye. At the hospital, Grace is typing on her lap when her phone dings. She reads a message of deep gratitude from Bill and looks stressed. Bridget comes in and wants to speak to her about Liam Spencer. She questions her about signing off on Liam being discharged so soon. Bridget keeps questioning her decision until Grace says she doesn't have time for this discussion. Her phone rings and she eyeballs Bridget until she leaves. Turning back to the phone call, she says, "I was just about to call you." At Bill's place, he tells Liam that he just talked to Will and Wyatt and gave them the wonderful news. Liam marvels, it's really gone. They all assure him it is. He's going to grow old with them and be with them for a very long time. Liam cries. Steffi and Hope ask how he's feeling, and Liam says he's tired. They want him to rest, but he wants to see his girls. Hope offers to call the nanny and have her bring them over. Nearby, Finn asks Bill if he's had any more contact with Dr. Buckingham. Bill says none other than a text message. Finn marvels that this is a mind-blowing case. Bill agrees, it's a miracle. Finn frowns. At the hospital, Bridget paces and thinks about Grace telling her, and Finn, that the mass in Liam's brain was inoperable. She then flashes to Finn saying that releasing Liam so soon was not standard operating procedure, and that it was very odd. In Grace's office, she reads a text showing the bank wire from Bill Spencer has been processed. She agonizes. At Bill's place, Bill tells Hope and Steffi that when Grace came to him with the experimental procedure, he just had to go for it. Hope says they're grateful. Bill declares there is nothing he wouldn't do for his boy. He sits by Liam's bedside and tells him how grateful he is they got rid of the tumor. He apologizes for the Luna part of it. He'll never forgive himself for endangering him. Liam cracks. Thanks for the surgery. Steffi and Hope are sure he's keen to see Kelly and Beth. They'll make sure they know he's going to be okay. Finn enters with the girls and Steffi and Hope explain that their dad was at the hospital. But everything is going to be okay, and there's nothing to worry about. The girls file around the bedside and ask if he's all right. Liam says now that they're there, he's the best ever. He shows off his tubes and hat. Do you think it's cool? The girls get into bed with Liam and Steffi tells them he's a hero. Hope knows it may be confusing to see him like this. Finn explains the machines and says he's healing really well. They have so much to look forward to. Hope and Steffi remind their girls of how much Liam loves them. There will be many more daddy-daughter dances. Liam and the girls express their love. Bill murmurs, "Best money I ever spent." In her office, Grace looks at the $1 million deposit pending, transfers it into her account, and flashes through Liam's medical journey. Getting up and pacing, she begins to hyperventilate. The tension in the air at Forrester Creations was palpable, like the seconds before a storm broke over the Pacific coast. Grace Buckingham stood in one of the design offices, her back straight, but her hands trembling as she smoothed down the lapel of her blazer. She had arrived that morning expecting a simple meeting with Ridge and Thomas to discuss a new wellness initiative, but instead found herself face to face with someone she hadn't anticipated, Dr. Bridget Forrester. Bridget had shown up unexpectedly, bright, brilliant, and always 3 steps ahead of the conversation. There was no way this was a coincidence. The good doctor had been looking into something, and Grace suspected she was the target. The confrontation begins. "Dr. Buckingham," Bridget greeted politely, her tone cool and clinical. "Do you have a moment? I'd like to go over a few things with you regarding Luna's treatment history and your involvement." Grace's eyes widened for the briefest of moments before she gave a tight-lipped smile. "Of course, Bridget. I'm always happy to support the medical well-being of my former patients." But Bridget wasn't buying the poise. She motioned for Grace to follow her into an unused conference room. The blinds were half drawn, casting shadows across the walls like slashes of suspicion. Grace hesitated before stepping inside. Bridget wasted no time. "I've been reviewing the toxicology report from the night Luna was drugged." There it was, the opening salvo. Grace nodded cautiously. "Yes, I provided a sedative to Poppy. It was a simple herbal blend. I told her it was for anxiety and insomnia. She said she needed help for Luna. But the compound we found in Luna's system wasn't simply herbal," Bridget cut in sharply. "It was laced with benzodiazepines. That mixture could have had dangerous effects: disorientation, confusion, memory loss. In fact, it did. Luna ended up in Liam's bed." Grace's lips parted to speak, but no sound came out. The walls around her suddenly felt much closer. The air was thick. Bridget took a step closer. "Did you know what would happen, Grace? Did you give that to Poppy with the intent to influence things?" "No," Grace gasped. "I didn't want that. I never intended for Luna to suffer. I was trying to protect her from Poppy's recklessness. I thought I could monitor the dosage." "Protect her?" Bridget scoffed. "Or control her?" The word struck Grace like a slap. "The past returns." Bridget's voice faded into the background as memories from Grace's past came flooding in. The hospital in Chicago. A young med student who questioned everything. The disastrous trial with a sedative formula that went wrong before she buried the research. That mistake had cost her a promising career once before. And now it was all coming back. Her hands started shaking. Her pulse pounded in her ears. "Grace," Bridget asked, finally noticing the shift in her demeanor. "Are you all right?" But Grace couldn't answer. The panic attack. Her vision blurred. The walls of the conference room seemed to tilt. Her chest tightened, breath shortening. She grabbed onto the edge of the table for support. I can't breathe," she whispered. Bridget's eyes widened. "Grace, you're having a panic attack. Sit down." Now Grace staggered back into a chair. Bridget was immediately in doctor mode, kneeling before her, speaking in low, steady tones. Breathe with me. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Look at me, you're safe. You're safe right now. But Grace wasn't hearing her. All she could hear was the rush of guilt, shame, and fear surging like a tidal wave. She had always believed she could stay composed, in control. But she was unraveling, and Bridget was seeing everything. The confession. Several minutes passed before the world started to right itself again. Grace leaned forward, hands clasped between trembling knees, drenched in sweat. Bridget handed her a bottle of water. "I'm sorry," Grace murmured. Bridget stayed silent, waiting. "I made a mistake," Grace said at last, her voice cracking. "I wanted to help Luna, yes, but I also wanted to prove to Poppy that I was the better mother. I wanted to undo everything she had done to that girl. I told myself it was for Luna's good. But it was pride. It was control." Bridget let the confession settle in the room. "You need to understand what's at stake, Grace. Luna could have been seriously harmed. Emotionally, physically. There are legal ramifications for what you did." "I know," Grace interrupted quietly. "I've been waiting for the knock on the door ever since Luna collapsed." Bridget folded her arms. "So what now? Are you prepared to tell Ridge? Or should I?" Grace shook her head. "No, I'll tell him. I owe him that, and Luna." Later that day, Ridge and Steffi. The fallout came swiftly. Grace asked for a private meeting with Ridge and Steffi, both of whom were visibly stunned when she revealed the truth. Grace didn't mince words. "I knowingly gave Poppy a sedative that I knew wasn't FDA approved. I believed I could control the outcome. I was wrong. I may have indirectly caused Luna's trauma that night." Steffi's reaction was instantaneous. "You mean the night she ended up in Liam's bed thinking it was Finn?" Grace nodded, tears in her eyes. "Yes." Ridge, ever the protector of his family, was stone-faced. "Grace, I trusted you. You could have come to us. You could have told the truth sooner." "I was scared," she admitted, "and ashamed. But I'm ready to face whatever consequences come next." Steffi didn't hold back. "You should be. Luna's finally starting to heal. And now we find out this?" Grace swallowed the lump in her throat. "I'll resign. From everything. My practice. The wellness initiative. Whatever the company needs." But Ridge didn't answer right away. "Luna finds out." Luna overheard part of the conversation. She walked into the office, her expression unreadable. "You did what?" she asked, her voice soft but dangerous. Grace turned, stunned. "Luna, You drugged me," Luna said coldly. "You made me question my sanity, my relationship, my body, my future." "I didn't mean to," Grace said, moving toward her. "I swear, Luna, I thought I could. You always think you know what's best." Luna cut her off. "You said you were protecting me, but you were playing God." Luna's lip trembled. "You stole my choice. Do you know what that's like? I wake up every morning wondering what really happened that night, and you stood by and watched me fall apart." "I'm so sorry," Grace whispered. But Luna shook her head. "Sorry doesn't undo the trauma." She walked out, her silence far louder than any scream. Bridget's warning. Later, Bridget returned to Grace's office. "I've spoken to the board at the hospital," she said quietly. "You'll be suspended pending review. And I can't promise you won't face legal consequences." Grace nodded. "I understand." "You're lucky Luna's strong," Bridget added. "You're lucky she's not pressing charges. Yet. Is there anything I can do to make it right?" Grace asked. Bridget studied her for a moment. "Maybe, but it's not up to me. You'll have to ask Luna." Nick and Poppy react. Nick Marone showed up at the Cliff House soon after. He had heard the news from Ridge. "You let this happen," he said angrily to Poppy, who was sitting on the couch, pale and withdrawn. "I didn't know what was in the sedative," she insisted. "I trusted Grace. She told me it was safe. I just wanted Luna to sleep." Nick's face darkened. "You should have taken her to a doctor. A real one." "I thought I was helping," Poppy cried. Grace said she was watching the dosage. Nick stood there, his fists clenched. You both failed her. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Boldy and BAUTFULUPDAT YouTube channel for more update news.